amazing grace of God. It is an invasion of the sovereign love of God, penetrating the gap of darkness with the overwhelming power of His marvelous light. It bridges the gap between man and God. Take a journey through the amazing grace of God with your host, Sarah Abraham, as she shares the compelling stories of those who walked in His covenant and have overcome by the amazing grace of God. Join us weekdays this fall for Amazing Grace.
Welcome to Amazing Grace. We are on the sets today with some amazing people and their testimonies, sharing their journeys with you to encourage you, empower you, and equip you. And I know there's different channels you can watch, different shows you watch, but you're tuning into Destiny TV and watching us, there's a reason for that. For such a time as this show is aired, and I know God is going to bless you. Thank you so much for watching Amazing Grace on Destiny TV. We have a wonderful, beautiful, dynamic woman of God,
All right.
Porshea Wilkins.
Yes.
That is a powerful name.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Porshea, tell us a little bit about yourself, your childhood. Where did you grow up? High school?
Okay, awesome. Well, I was born and raised in a huge small town
I like that.
called Hearn, Texas. Hearn, Texas. If you blink, you'll pass right through it while you're driving. But I grew up there, and a very small town, population about 5,000, 48% African American. There were 72 people in my senior class.
Wow.
When I graduated. Yes, that gives you perspective there.
Instead of 400.
Right. And so my mom and dad obviously married and everything, and then got divorced when I was around 5. And so being in Hearn was a great experience for me, but I always felt different. I always felt different in my classmates. And I remember growing up, I would hear some of my family members say things to my mom that whereas they thought I was too sassy, because I was opinionated. I had an opinion. I had a perspective. I was strong-willed, And my grandmother would always tell them, "I'm not worried about Porshea. Porschea's gonna be just fine," because she recognized those characteristics. Yes, exactly. And so I left Hearn. I graduated, went to college at Sam Houston State University, got a marketing degree, and my vision was to be a buyer. And I was able to do that. About a year after graduating college, moved to Ohio. I was a brand manager for a large retail company, managed billions of dollars of business, and then God called me to do something else. And it was actually, I'm teaching on this right now, my Straight Talk Woman Talk ministry, about transition. How God will take you on the path that He wants you to go. And He may tell you to turn right. And you think you're going to go right for 10 miles when it's actually 2 steps. And you're like, wait a minute, Lord, you just told me to go here. Now I got to turn again?
I'm comfortable here.
Right, I like it right here. He's like, no, I got somewhere else for you to go. And so I got a call from my mom when I was in Ohio. I'll never forget it. She said, Daddy's missing, speaking of her father. And I said, what do you mean? She said, we can't find him. And he had just got a girlfriend. So I'm thinking they're out, as we say in the South, coating. Out courting and dating. Yes. And so I'm like, oh, he's just out with his girlfriend. He'll be home soon. Well, he never came home. And so the next day when she called me back, I knew it was something really tragic. And so he went missing for about a week. We had the Texas Rangers and my classmates and everybody came together to help search for him. And it was about a week later that they found the remains. And it was July in Texas. He was out in the woods. So the animals, the heat, they had to do DNA tests to identify that was him. And so someone had actually pushed his car up between 2 trees and used the brushes and limbs from the trees to cover it up so that you can see him from the road. You have to actually walk into the woods to actually see.
So he was in the car?
No, he was about 100 yards away from the main road. So it was as if they left him out there and he attempted to walk to safety and just didn't make it. And so that was a very tragic experience for me.
So he was really murdered?
He was.
Somebody killed him?
Yes, he was murdered. He was kidnapped and murdered. My grandfather was the candy man for the neighborhood. We were right across the park from our elementary, Blackshear Elementary. And so the kids would leave elementary, go to the park, stop by his house, get candy for a penny or a nickel. And so it wasn't odd for him to assist someone. They needed a ride somewhere or something. He would be that person to do it. So that wouldn't shock us.
So he probably picked up somebody.
Exactly. And so, that what that did to me was put things into perspective as far as my life is concerned. What's important? What matters most? Yes, you're working for this huge company. You're managing, tons of money, and you're traveling, and you're around all this glitz and this glamour and all these things. But at the end of the day, what good is it when you're not really fulfilled at doing it? There's the shine, but then there's the substance. And that I didn't know then, but God was actually preparing me to be that person, to teach women all over the world how to understand those principles that govern a life of substance. I've experienced so much where there's so much emphasis on the outer, on the exterior, on the possessions and the edification and the accolades and all those things. And then some of these people, you get one-on-one with them, so and you're like, empty. Yes, there's nothing else there. All they have is their things.
So all they have is stuff.
That's it. And I remember someone saying before, if money is all you have, you're broker than you think.
I like that.
If that's it, then you have no idea how broke you really are. And for me, it was about, okay, yes, obtaining those things, having the nice things, being financially successful, but also having the substance to back it up. Making sure that at the end of the day, no matter how far I get shot up to the top and what platforms I get placed on, that behind closed doors, my character is in alignment. God will be pleased with what I've been called to do. I can give him credit for it because I recognize that a lot of the shininess didn't involve him. They didn't involve him, and he was missing from that entire equation. And whereas I was like, I can't do that. I don't want to go that path. And so I believe he took me along that journey just to expose me to that. And so I use my grandfather. I keep that memory always with me, always with me to as a reminder of what can happen in life.
Yeah, or, it's a reminder. This show was born after I lost my 25-year-old nephew.
Wow.
Bright, handsome, smart.
Wow.
Just got into medical school. Just was, this was end of June. Starts medical school, I believe, in September. So he and a few of his kids who graduated from UT. They were working in New York, Connecticut. Said, hey, let's go one last vacation before you start.
Right.
So they went to New Orleans. Right, and he rides motorcycles, mopeds all over the world. Right. He loves that.
Oh boy.
And so he taught a couple of them. He didn't know how to ride. Yeah, it's pretty. If you know how to do a bicycle, you can ride. And kids,
Yeah.
So he even taught them. So they just rode around and had a lot of fun. They were going to return the moped back to the rental company. When don't know what happened, he fell off the moped. His sunglasses were on, his cell phone was not broken, sunglasses were not broken, helmet was still on, and mopeds go about 30 miles an hour, so it's not that fast.
Right.
But don't know what happened. I mean, he fell off, and his brain stem was severed.
Wow.
And 25-year-old.
Oh, that's tragic. That's so sad.
Yes, and that's when like you said, I just thought, it doesn't matter.
Right.
All like the stuff that you have, the achievement, the degrees and everything, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Wow.
And when the way my sister handled it, that's her only son. And he was not just her son, he was all our son.
Her life.
Yes.
It was her entire life.
Yes, her entire life.
Yeah.
And they were like this. I mean, he could complete the sentence that she started.
Oh.
And she had him very young.
Yeah.
So they kind of grew up
together, yeah.
And my son is the oldest, and he's the second one, so he was like my second child. Wow. There's 4-year difference between my son and him. There's 10-year difference between my son and my daughter. So he was my middle child. And they grew up together all weekend here and there. So it was like, I cannot even imagine what my sister went through, but it was like my heart was ripped off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized and that boy was a good Christian. He graduated top 5% from UT,
Go ahead.
and his graduation cap had Isaiah 51:4, I believe,
Okay.
and only one with the scriptures. In all that sea of blue, he was the only one with the scriptures. He
Look
had
at
it
that.
written in white
Okay.
on that blue graduation cap, and he was 100% sold out for God.
Wow. That's amazing.
And he just told his sister, hey, in case, you know how brothers and sisters talk, and he said, in case something happens to me, this is the way I want my funeral to be done, blah, blah, blah. And she
Really?
said, and so she said, okay, I don't
Like,
have
yeah,
time
yeah,
right now.
whatever.
You know, you better write everything down because
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember nothing. And he said, if I'm ever on a ventilator or on a life support or something, I don't want to be there, just pull the plug. She said, really? If I'm on a life support, will you pull the plug? He said, that's what you want.
Right.
He said, okay, write it down. Just like that. And this was
Wow.
like 2 weeks before this conversation.
Stop.
But he wrote everything down.
Oh.
So as soon as it happened, you know, she didn't know his password and stuff. She took his laptop to the Apple store and they
Got in there.
They broke in there.
There it was.
And we had nothing to do. We just had to follow the instruction that was given.
Wow.
And I said, God,
Jesus.
this is
Lord.
hard. And the way she took it, and my sister was the amazing grace of God. There's
Right.
no other way.
Yeah.
You know, when she went up to speak at his
Funeral.
wake, it was
Wake,
wake,
okay.
you know, so I was sitting there, she just grabbed my hand. So I said, okay, I'll be behind her with tissues and help her,
Right.
you know, blah, blah, blah. A woman preached.
She rocked it. Yeah.
She rocked it. You got it. And I said, this is the amazing grace
Yeah.
of God. There is no way,
But God.
no but God.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I mean, he bled burnt orange.
Right.
So it was
Yeah.
it was a sea of burnt orange right
Aw,
there from,
look at
I mean, you know,
that.
his coffin was draped in the UT flag and
Just as he wanted.
yeah, I mean, just as he wanted, you know, he was an RA
Right.
and he was very involved
Yeah.
with UT, and even after he graduated, he was involved. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, and she had a chance to speak to all these people,
Right.
young people.
To hear how
Yes,
her son has impacted
yes,
him.
and she said, I know where my son is.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure
You get there too.
all your friends will be
Yeah.
there. I just want you to reflect on his life.
That's amazing.
And, you know, and I said, Lord, this is amazing. It's still raw. I mean,
Yeah.
it is still raw. Like I said to my sister the other day, you know, maybe I don't cry every day now.
Right.
It's been a year
Okay.
year and 4 months.
Okay. Mm.
But still, you know, at least 2-3 times a week, you know, I just don't ask God why, but I just tell him sometimes, not fair.
That's a good perspective.
You know, it's not, I mean, I go to my sister's house, his room is just the way, like he left
Like
it.
he left it. Mm-hmm.
Everything. I mean,
That's
his
important.
clothes would smell like him, and now it doesn't. Wow. And it's hard.
Yes.
It is hard,
Yes.
but you know, God has a purpose.
He does.
God birthed the show because of that. He made my sister so strong. I mean, she was a guest on my show,
Uh-huh.
and it was overwhelming, the response we got.
Wow.
And so, and sometimes even when we re-air it, we would get at least a few calls, some from young kids.
Wow. We
Yeah,
want to rededicate
Yeah,
it.
I've said that in my show several times. I'll just say that again. One of the young kids said that, you know, if something happened to me today, my mom would have to lie because there's not one good thing she can talk about me.
Wow.
Yes. And you know what? I don't want my
It's not
mom.
funny, but it is, you know.
I don't want my mom to lie.
To lie. Oh.
So just pray for me that I can be a little bit like Omar.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, this is worth everything.
Everything is worth it all. It gives you that peace.
Yeah,
it gives you
because
that peace.
That peace. And then I said, God, you do everything for a purpose,
Absolutely.
for a kind. And you know, his life, short life, 25
Right.
years,
But still impactful.
impactful.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
so
still
his
impactful.
journey is done. So like when you said you were in a big department store and doing what your degree was in and everything, but you still felt there was no fulfillment there.
Exactly. It wasn't there.
And that's what you're teaching.
Yes. That is it.
And there's so many women in that shoes.
Oh, it is so many. I meet them every week. Every Monday we come together and we do a call, and it's women all over the world that dial into the Straight Talk Woman Talk line and get blessed. And they're like, "Wow, I never thought about it this way. I thought I was the only one." I'm like, "Honey, there is nothing new under the sun at all." And so, by hearing the testimony and hearing the stories of, you know, the drama that you went through, the pit of that bottomless pit that you felt that you were in all by yourself, and to hear testimonies of women leveraging a relationship with God to come out of it.
And see, when your relationship with God is done right, everything kind of falls in place.
Oh, it does.
Your relationship with your spouse
Yes.
or your better half, or
Yes.
your boyfriend,
Yes.
your children,
Yes.
your family,
Yes.
your extended family,
Yes.
your friend circle,
Your enemies.
enemies. Me and God have a talk about it, you know.
Every day.
Love your enemies.
Like, you really want me to pray for them? Are you sure? Did I interpret that the right way?
You know, is this what we want to do?
Right, right.
But you know, all what we can say is that, you know, God knows what He's doing with each and every one of us.
Oh, He does.
We are His creation.
Yes.
He's the potter.
Yes,
So He has created us for different purposes.
that's it.
I mean, who would know Porshea would have so many ministries? Wilkinson Leadership Group. Tell me about that. What is that about?
So Wilkins Leadership Group is our company, myself and my husband, where we focus on 4 pillars. The first being kingdom, the second then business, third relationships, and then the fourth, of course, purpose. And so
Say that again.
kingdom,
Kingdom,
business,
business,
relationships,
relationship,
purpose.
purpose.
So obviously kingdom, the kingdom of God.
Number one.
Absolutely. Number one. Always number one. And then business. We are entrepreneurs. We believe that kingdom and business go together.
Go together.
We've seen it done separately, and it doesn't look too good. I don't want to go down that path. So there's a way to conduct business and not omit God.
That's right.
You need Him in that equation. So
You need God in that
yes,
business.
you
Yes.
need Him in that. So we teach that, and then of course relationships. You know, we
So
met in
important.
business, and then became friends, and then boyfriend and girlfriend, got engaged, and then married. And so, and we blended a family as well. So we got a little experience when it comes to relationships. And then of course purpose. That's one of our favorites because it's once you identify that thing that you were created for,
Yes.
that problem that you were designed to solve, it makes life easier to live, because most people, what we've discovered is that they've invested majority of their life doing the wrong thing, going
Something
down
that
the wrong path.
they're not created for.
No,
Wasted
they're good
10
at it.
10, 15 years.
Yeah, they're good at it. They can do it. It's part of their gifting, but it's not the thing that they've been created for. So that's the Wilkins Leadership Group umbrella. And then underneath that, we have our Straight Talk Woman Talk ministry that I lead with all the ladies that God called me to, out of an emotional place, as well as
Yes.
not as tragic, I would say, as what you've experienced with your nephew. However, but almost a year after my husband and I got married, we got married March 2014.
Oh, newlyweds.
Yes, we are. We're newlyweds. And so after we got married, I thought I was pregnant. And then come to find out, it wasn't a baby. It was actually fibroids.
Oh.
Yes. And so I went to the doctor, had to have the surgery and all of that. And so it was a devastating thing to experience that, you know. You think it's a baby, you're newlyweds, you're fired up, you're excited, and then nope, that's not it. And so I said, Lord, okay, well, what is it then? And I got the surgery in October, and then by December is when He told me about Straight Talk Woman Talk. I want you to lead the women. I was like, but I'm broken. How can I lead people? How can you lead when you're broken yourself? And that's when He told us, you got to lead while you bleed. You have to lead while you bleed. There's a purpose in that. It's your experience. Yes. And so I did it reluctantly. And I said, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, you're going to have to show up. And you're going to have to bring these women. You're going to have to make all this happen, because I personally don't have the capacity to do it. And that's when God shows out. His strength is made perfect in our weakness.
Yeah, see, when, you know, people have asked me to host a Christian television and show, and I'm saying this 24-hour Christian televisions, there's so many out there.
Yeah.
I'm not equipped, I'm not trained, I don't know. So I just say, yeah, let's pray about it. I don't want to say no. We'll think about it.
Right,
We'll see what
right.
happened, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And, I had a producer who was just relentless. She said, Sarah, we need it. You're a woman of color. You're
Yeah.
different. So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
that you're black or white or Mexican, whatever. And, it's just the way universe is and blah, blah, blah. She's worked for Channel 13 and everything, and now she's in Louisiana.
Okay.
And so, I said, okay. But when this happened, and I told her, I said, Monique, you know what? If we ever do a show, I want the name of the show, Amazing Grace.
Wow.
Even then, I said, where am I going to get the guest?
Right.
I don't have any connections. I don't know any people.
Yeah.
I'm a businesswoman. and
Right.
Where am I going to get every day? We tape every 2-3 guests on Tuesday. Where am I going to get it?
Right.
So there was like a panic.
Yes.
I don't
yes.
have anybody on Monday. I don't
Yes.
have anybody on Tuesday.
Yes. Yes.
But God has provided. There has never been a Tuesday where I had no guests.
There you go. There you go.
Never.
Jehovah Jireh.
That's it.
Our provider.
It's a commitment.
Yes,
and
it
that's
is.
what I want to say to our viewers is, maybe you think you're not gifted, you're not talented. I've never done a talk show. I've written speeches for other people.
Okay.
I've never been in the front.
In the front.
I'd like to be behind.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, what if I have a brain freeze, I'm taping. What if I cough and all this?
It's all those things
All these
that you don't even
insecurities,
think about. It just creeps up on you.
Creeps
Absolutely.
up on you. And I said, oh, what if my nose itches?
Right.
I've never been trained,
Yeah.
My daughter her major is broadcast journalism.
Oh, she has it down.
She has it down.
Yeah.
I'm a business major. Where do I know? I can make a business plan.
Right.
Yes,
right.
I can I know about business laws, but if God has called you, He will equip you.
Yeah, He doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called.
That's right.
If He has called you to it, He's going to see you through it. And that's exactly what He told me.
I believe like the fishermen in Jesus' time, that
Yeah.
they catch the fish and then they clean it up.
Yeah.
They just clean it up to whatever God wants. I just submitted my life to God and said, God, if this is what you want to do,
Right.
as long as you want me to do,
Right.
I will do it.
That's
and
it.
then I see God moving in mysterious ways. Sometimes we are able to help people pay their light bills. And that's another thing. I will never ask money. I don't like those evangelists.
You sound like me.
Yeah, asking for money. Oh, you give me $35, I send you a handkerchief with oil or whatever. No. So that's one thing I would not do. But God is always blessed.
Always.
And 100% of what God gives us goes back into the ministry.
That's amazing.
Because we don't need, I don't get paid doing this. God has blessed me enough.
Right.
And, sometimes you wonder, people give $25, $50 as an offering, and it just goes there, and you won't believe it, Porshea. It doesn't sit in the account for even 30 days. Somebody would say that, my light bill has not been paid for 3 months.
Wow.
And they're going to take it off. They're going to disconnect, and, I am really depressed, and I don't know winter is coming or summer is coming. And,
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? There would be just enough money. I said, okay, give me the account number. We'll just go to HEB or wherever, and we will take care of that bill.
That's a blessing. You're
It
blessed to
is
be
a
a blessing.
blessing.
God gives seed to the sower. If you
It is
don't
a
have any
blessing.
seed, it's because you're not sowing anything. And
Correct.
people think the only thing they can sow is their money, but it's not. You can sow your time. You
Anything.
can sow your talent,
Yes, ma'am.
your tongue as well.
Yes.
There's so many
And
things
God
you
is,
can sow.
like, we just came back from India about 3 weeks ago, and we were able to, not from the offering or anything, from what God has given us, we had a business transaction that went through, and we were able to buy the land to build a house for a blind
that.
couple.
Look at that.
They were living in a cow shed.
Wow. Oh.
And if it rains, it gets flooded.
Oh,
there's no
wow.
cow there, but they used to
Yeah.
have cows, so there's no windows, no
That's no way to
doors.
live.
It's just a floor and a covering.
Right.
And, it's blind people. And I said, you know what? Last year I saw them and I said, I want to build them a house.
That's beautiful.
We didn't have the means, but we knew.
God will make a way.
At that time, God will make a way.
Yeah.
And as soon as this business transaction happened, and I said, hey,
There it is.
there it is. And
There it is.
and we're going to do it. And we were able to buy the land for them.
That's
Now we have to build a house, and we are praying that God sends us honest contractors. You know, we're
Yes.
staying here and they're there, and you know,
Yeah.
we cannot look at the bills and we cannot do it. But God, you know, the banker said he's going to go inspect everything
That's good.
before he will release it. And I'm just praying God's hand and mercy upon there. And that's
Yeah.
what God wants us to do with whatever we have.
Yeah.
Like you said, talents or business or time,
Yes.
you know, or like the other lady was saying, maybe a hug, maybe a
Yeah.
touch.
Yes, it.
It doesn't matter.
That is true. That's
And
true.
my heart is for the women and children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, men can take care of themselves, God can take care of them. But I think it is so important for them to be equipped
Yes.
and empowered,
Absolutely.
and they can take care of the house. It's like the village.
Uh-huh.
You take care of your house, you take care of your community,
Yes.
you take care of your city. It's just, you know, God is equipping and empowering women for a time as this.
Oh, he is. He's raising us up every day. I get connected with women who were on a different path, but we're still headed to that same
to the same right
destination.
path. And
Yeah,
it is so much easier if you are on the right path.
Yes.
If you know what your destination is, it's easy to reach there. And you know, God will equip you on the way, whatever you need to reach your destination. And thank you so much for being a part of Amazing Grace. Thank you so much being a part of Destiny TV. You're important to us. We pray for you every day. Till we meet again, stay encouraged, stay empowered, and remember, amazing grace of God is the power that bridges the gap between man and God.
Thank you.